Hi, Shaun.
Hey.
Yeah, thanks for coming along today. Yeah, excited to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell us a bit more about the services that you have, and obviously the really cool project that you've done in Geneva recently.
Yeah. So KNEKTD, we're based in Richmond, in London. We do audiovisual installation and design.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is obviously cinemas and installing those. We do a bit of hospitality now and again.
Yeah.
Some restaurants, which you guys are involved with.
Yep. Some pretty incredible big projects as well.
Yeah,
so, they've been good. With the project that you did in Geneva for your clients, how did that start? How did that come about? You know, from that initial point of contact, how did your customer know about you?
Yeah. So we did his house in London pre-COVID, maybe 2018. So that was a complete redo of everything. And then he, at that point, had a room that he also wanted to do a cinema in. And sort of 2018, there wasn't, I don't believe, CinemaTech back then. Also, the room treatment stuff wasn't as sort of high up on the agenda list.
Yeah.
So he actually built himself a room within a room using a company that does that stuff anyway. And then he got us in to do all the audio. And at that point, we used, at that stage, Bowers & Wilkins 800 series stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big, I think it was a 5.4.4, which was really weird at that point. Okay. It was a small room, and he loves his bass, as you know. So we chucked in 4 subs in this tiny room. Actually shakes the building, but
I bet it does.
He loved it. And then he obviously moved for his work. I think he's still got the house, which we look after, still in London.
Yeah.
But he moved to Geneva, bought the chateau, and for the last 4 years been doing it up. So we've been working with him. So not only the cinema, we did the whole house with him. And he eventually got to the cinema, and we sort of talking about, he's got this room or basement cave.
Yes. So it was all stripped out, wasn't it? You started afresh down there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an empty cave, basically. This curved ceiling, concrete bunker almost. Yeah. And he was like, I want to turn this into a cinema. I'm like, okay, here we go. And that started the conversation about what we wanted to do in there and where to go, which was been fun. I mean, it's been a long time, but it's been fun. Yeah,
because he's very much into it as well. So he wasn't just asking for a solution. He knew where he wanted to go with it, what he was going to be doing in that room. Yeah. And I assume that he brings his family and friends into that space as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So he's very enthusiastic about sound and all the latest technology, which has been great and fun to deal with, which it means he understood when we were putting things in front of him, about why we wanted to do this. And, so it helped when we wanted the Mad VR to go in there, the Storm, and why we wanted it to go in there, and why he needed all these products to make it the very best. Yeah.
So he understood it from a technical aspect.
Yeah. So it helped when not just chucking numbers in front of him, he knew why we were putting it in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just kind of that helps it roll, right? So you had something to talk about rather than just the monetary value of it.
Yes.
He saw the benefits that he would get.
Absolutely,
So with this project as well. So it was probably about a year and a half long from start to end, or possibly a bit longer.
The cinema alone, I think, probably a 2-year period because he was obviously concentrating on the rest of the building. The cinema took time to evolve, and then when he had headspace to deal with the cinema, there were lots of conversations pre the actual cinema installation.
Yep.
And it started off on, what are we going to put in here, Shaun? What do we do?
Yeah.
So then we spoke with CinemaTech.
Yep.
And they sort of helped us bring the vision of first what is it going to look like? This, curved ceiling, what colors, what size screen, and all the technical elements. So, that was sort of really helpful getting that vision across. Okay, we came up with sort of sketches, lots of mood boards as to what we wanted it to look like, and eventually got to some point. And then the conversation around what to use and what speakers, etc. And I think, there were the obvious conversations of he had the bars in the beginning, and I think it was like, well, let's push it a bit further here. We can go bigger, and
we've got a purpose-built room now, so
let's see what we can do.
So
the conversation turned to wisdom, and he wasn't aware of these products before. So I turned to wisdom, and we started off at L8 eyes, I think, and then we had an iteration of L8 eyes with P2M or P2 eyes in the system. And although he was pretty happy with that, I think, once we introduced him to the lines of product and the understanding, the ethos behind wisdom, I think, and wow, okay, this is where it can really go, and this is how,
because there's further conversations to be had as well, wasn't there, with the client? So I remember that one evening, me, you, and the customer, we got on a Teams call and just kind of discussed the different aspects of that. I think that Wisdom had also done the same, just to kind of run through the different audio options available to him. And I think having a bit of technical understanding from the client, he saw the benefits. He knew what he's going to get if he bought the kind of higher end ranges, spent a bit more money on it. It's going to deliver the performance that he really wanted in that space.
I think, and it's just educating him that, you can, if you spend a little bit more money in what you get from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You suddenly go from the Insight series to the Sage series. That's a big jump, and it's a big difference. So and I think once we converted him to Sage, especially for the fronts, it only made sense for him to slowly convert the sides, rears, and then the ceilings to all Sage.
And he was super excited about it as well, wasn't he?
100%.
He wanted the best of the best within that space and what he could get in there. And going through some of the design elements, working closely with Wisdom and ourselves as well to understand.
I mean, the amount of conversations I think we had around which projector to use and
that
which
as well.
screen to use.
Absolutely.
What size we could get in there with the space we had.
Exactly.
He wanted the biggest we could get, and whether we used a lens or no lens, and then whether we go to the NZ900.
Yeah, absolutely.
The amount of times we had that conversation was...
we went forwards and backwards quite a few times, didn't we, to try and understand what is it that he actually wanted within this space, and what was what was the right product to benefit this room.
Absolutely,
So, but just reverting back to the CinemaTech side of things, so right in the infancy of this project, so you'd got in contact with us, we obviously presented CinemaTech to you as a solution. So from your perspective, you needed to provide us with plans for CinemaTech to start designing the room, right? So part of that is showing where the speaker locations are, mapping out all the acoustic material within the space, but also the aesthetics as well. So
so they built the whole room within a room for us to literally the millimeter, which has been fantastic, especially because the client is overseas in Geneva. They needed exact drawings of the space to be able to build the infrastructure. So part of that was the first phase of that is building the block or the room, because it's a concrete block. We wanted then to build a stud wall or almost a stud frame for us to then start working off. So the builders did that, and then
they were the local builders, weren't they, that put that stud frame up, but yet you managed and helped kind of coordinate them to make sure that we had all the right studs in the right place, ready for the speakers to go in, and for the track to be put on front of that as well. And then obviously your team went over to install the acoustic material, including the stretched fabric around the space.
That was fun. I mean, it was also really good, actually, because of the type of fabric we chose, the Creation Bowman one. Bowman?
Close enough.
Creation Bowman. That Wisdom tested it for us before we could actually, put it on. So that was really helpful. The fact that we could go from a bigger range of material, and they're based out in Switzerland, which was even
because Wisdom went through quite a few different materials as well to see the response of those and how they performed in the room.
Absolutely.
And having that reassurance that choosing the right fabric is going to give him the best audio, kind of really helped knit it all together.
100%, and just a wider option, I think. He was very specific about the materials that he wanted to use, and so yeah, that was super helpful.
Yeah. So also the services then, after the room's been built, obviously we need to calibrate the audio, which Steve was there from Wisdom to do. Also, we've got our cinema specialist, Julian, from the video side of things. So in this project, we had the JVC NZ900 and we had a MadVR Extreme in there.
Yes.
So therefore, on the client's CinemaScope screen, we could make sure that the content always fits that screen all the time, regardless of what that aspect ratio would have been.
Yes. The amount of times we had that conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
This will do this, this will do this, this will do it.
Yeah. And it's just trying to convey what that does for the client and how it benefits them.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so also with the MadVR, it gets the best out of that HDR content. So it's the best thing for that project, for him to get the very best out of that projector.
100%. And I think, otherwise he would have had the 16, by 9 changing all the aspect ratio all the time. And I think he got very frustrated having spent a lot of money. Yeah. So, this way he doesn't need to do anything, and it's just
sit down, press play, and away you go.
Yeah. So he loves that.
Fantastic.
And Julian was amazing, and I know that the client spent a lot of time with Julian. I remember I've got pictures of them sitting together in an empty room.
Yeah.
So he loved that. I know that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's with that passion and that enthusiasm as well from the client. He obviously engages quite nicely with that kind of technical element.
And I think appreciates why then also these skilled guys come in to do this. Yeah. You say, well, we have to get it calibrated. Okay, cool. These guys, we're going to get them out. They're going to do it for us. And I think, again, it helped explain why they needed to do it. And he was happy to do, yes, absolutely. Let's get them in. We've got to get this done.
Absolutely,
so, that was also from a point of an installation, it was really easy for us to put forward.
Yeah.
And explain why.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, both Steve and Julian have dedicated their lives to calibrating their separate things there, right?
Absolutely.
So it's getting the right people in who know all of the do's and the don'ts and how to get the best out of a system to really kind of bring it together so it shines.
And and that's also a big reason why we like to work with Habitech is it's again the whole room almost is bought from Habitech.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just this hopefully making everyone's job a lot easier, so that we're not using different people or different products that work together really well. We know that they do.
Yeah.
And these people, we know we work with them, and that's been amazing. This whole journey,
Because I worked with you quite closely throughout this, bringing all those different products together, and obviously the individual teams as well to make this happen. So in this project, we've got screen research for the screen, we've got the JVC for the projection side of things, we've got the MadVR for the video processing.
Yeah.
We've got Storm audio processor. Obviously, you've got all the Wisdom amplification, Wisdom loudspeakers, CinemaTech within that space.
Yeah.
So it was very much a Habitech-centric project. Yeah. And it came together really, really quite nicely.
Absolutely, yeah. Impressive room. Sure.
Yeah. So how's the client now then? So it's been done now for a few months. He's had a bit of time to stay in there, chill out, enjoy it. What reports have you had back?
I mean, it's only been positive in terms of the room and the sound. Obviously, he's super happy. And I think there are teething issues, as there are with everything. And I think the support behind that, as long as you're reactive to that, which we've been, and Habitech have been able to support us on that journey. So, that's been amazing. There's luckily in our day and age we can remote in and do most things, and the client is super hands-on. So that helps. But that's been pretty good as well.
Good. So the end result for the client and the models that we put in this space. So why don't we start off with Wisdom? So up the front we had some line source loudspeakers, didn't we, for the left,
line twos,
centre and right.
Line twos, left, centre, rights. The rear channels, so we had side channels, side channels, which were 0.2 V2s.
That's the one,
rears were 0.2 V2s, and then we had the ICS7 in
the ceiling.
4 of those.
We're able to direct those into the listening space, weren't
Absolutely,
we?
Which was key. Before we did the fabric.
Yes. Yeah, and that was a challenge as well, right? Because the speaker obviously is flat, the ceiling is rounded.
Yeah.
So you needed to find some kind of way to mount effectively a flat speaker to a curved
That was a
ceiling.
big challenge, actually, thanks to Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
He figured that one out for us. We actually had to chisel out a bit of the structure in the end to get the depth required.
Yes.
But I think, we didn't, the builders did. So we did get them in, thankfully. That was one of the last changes to it, was deciding which in-ceiling speakers to go for. Once we converted to Sage, I think he went all the way. But
yeah, because we were looking at P2Is,
P2Is, sorry.
Weren't we originally?
Correct.
because of the shallow depth.
Yeah.
But with the assistance from the guys on site, we managed to find a bit more headroom there to install.
Thankfully, and which again then made perfect sense for the whole room for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And the subwoofers? So
SCS, 4 of them.
Yep.
RTLs, is that what they are?
Yep.
SCS RTLs. Which we then coupled the front 2 together.
Yes.
For that extra bit of punch.
Absolutely. So putting them together
at the front
and making them vent out the front directly. Yeah, you ended up with what sounded like a much bigger subwoofer at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then two at the rear. For that absolute envelopment of.
Yeah. So you got a nice coverage where you're able to balance out within DSP.
Yeah.
The frequencies and the gains to ensure that you end up with a nice coherent sound through all of the seats within
absolutely.
the space.
I mean, the feeling, I think, is all, you can feel it, can't you? The room, and that's what I loved about that space. You can go into a lot of cinemas, but the feeling of what you've done and then actually hearing that, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and that bass flapping your trousers as well, you know, so when there is a
I mean, it moves the whole seating in there. And
yeah, so when you've got a T-Rex stomping through the room, you can actually feel it, and it makes for that whole cinematic experience, right?
Yeah,
so I've had it multiple times where people have been listening to a Wisdom Theatre, assuming that there's something under the seats, vibrating, but it's not, it's just the air and the power of the system.
Amazing,
it kind of really gets you involved in what you're watching.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about the Wisdom,
and
we had Wisdom DSP amps to go with this as well.
We did. This was a combination, I think you worked
it was. A combination between 8-channel amp, 3-channel amp, and 2-channel amp.
Because we had to get two extras for the front, I think, when we did line 2s.
Yes.
So we have 6 channels in the front.
Yep.
So I think, and we had limited space within the rack to be able to do this, so we went
of course.
more. But the client wanted to separate the channels, so we had more power for the points, 2v2s.
Yep.
So that I think it was only the in ceilings were on the 8-channel.
I think so. I think it was the in ceilings and the sides, wasn't it? And then the rear.
No, and then the fronts were on their own channels.
Yep.
And on their own amps.
Yep.
Yeah, he was quite particular about it all.
He was, wasn't he?
That.
Yeah. He knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the subwoofers had their own amplifiers as well. It must have been quite a meaty rack of amplification.
Yeah, there was lots of amps.
Quite impressive.
Lots of Wisdom amps, nice silver amps.
And when you've got lots of Wisdom amps stacked up in a rack, you've got these nice kind of swooping face plates, haven't you? And this look very, very impressive.
Pretty recognisable.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from a audio processor perspective, we used Storm, didn't we?
We did.
To get the most out of that system.
Yes.
To drive all of those channels. I'm just trying to remember how many channels, because we went through different iterations, didn't we?
I think it's 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Plus all the subs as well.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 plus the subs.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think we upgraded it to 24.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Which is great, actually, the flexibility of being able to do that.
Yeah.
Because we just changed the cards.
Yep. Yeah. Changed cards out, and then you're running with more channels.
Yeah.
It was super handy. So we got Storm from the audio side of things, and then is it just movies that your client will be watching in there?
So we've got the Kaleidoscope in there.
Yep.
Although his son is a gamer.
Yes.
We actually put the PlayStation 5
Yep.
into the room,
which
was, again, we found a little cubby hole, which was custom made. and put that in there with some nice slots for the remotes, controllers.
Yep.
So yeah, it is a gaming solution in there.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the briefs that we had from him. That I think his son's going to be a professional gamer, from what I understand.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a good job.
Yeah, and especially if he's got that room to learn to play
phenomenal.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was part of the reason why we specified the projector
Yeah.
that we needed,
Yes.
because to get the level of output from that gaming system is that he needed a higher frame rate and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we settled for that JVC NZ900.
That's right. Yeah.
For that environment.
Yeah.
From a signal path perspective, obviously we've gone from our K-scape through our Storm, then to our Mad VR.
Yep.
So that's Mad VR NV Extreme.
Yes.
So that was doing all the kind of heavy lifting for the video processing, so we're able to get the best out of the source content. And again, from the gaming aspect, that's where it was quite crucial to make sure that that flowed all the way through.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously, up to our JVC NZ900, which we kind of touched on earlier, and then projecting out onto our Screen Research 2.4:1 screen. So CinemaScope screen.
Yes, we did. Did we do? I think it was 239.
239? Yeah, close.
Yeah. In the end.
Because I remember we had a lot of discussions, didn't we, about how we would fit this in the space. Because again, with that ceiling that curves, that means that you've got 2 pinch points.
Yes.
And depending on what aspect ratio you go for, it depends on how high you can mount the screen and all that. So
there was quite a lot of toing and froing with
yes.
us, about which one to use. In fact, I can't even remember what we used in the end. 2.4?
I think, yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, 2.4, 2.39, very close.
Yeah. I think it was margins, though. There was so slim margins in that throw ratio. In fact, I think Johnny even went there and remeasured it for us, and Mez had to go through videos and be like, no, it's definitely that.
Yeah, because we were originally going to mount the projector further in the room, weren't we?
Yes.
But then we had to push that a bit further back.
Yeah, we actually had to build out the door.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you redesigned the room at that point. So then you had a cubby hole above the door, so you could actually push the projector back. I think the end result was better because that pushed the projector out of the room.
Yes, well, more so also then Johnny built this amazing custom housing for the projector, so it didn't show anything, and it turned out amazing.
Fantastic. Did you have any challenges throughout this project?
Many.
Yeah.
The faceted ceiling was probably one of the bigger, ensuring that he still got this, he had an amazing room and he wanted to keep this. We could have easily built a box and but we wanted to use the curve of the room to be able to, emphasize the space a bit. And, so rather than fight against it, we worked with it.
And it's a unique feature as well, to keep that in that space. It makes it different.
Yeah.
And it looks absolutely incredible. So the challenges around that then, obviously we mentioned about the ceiling speakers going in there, but I assume from the tracking side of things and that kind of finishing element. Yeah. So that was quite difficult, was
100%, yeah. I think the ceiling probably was the hardest element to get right, to ensure the lines were all correctly spaced. So that you started on the center line and then worked it all out. So incredibly hard. Not only the fact that it's in Geneva also.
Yes.
So that was a big challenge. That comes with its own constraints working in Geneva, but it was fun to deal with.
There's only so much you can do over the phone, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. But we were lucky, I think, that we had such an accommodating client as well. That certainly helped us massively. Other challenges. Building the frame was a big challenge. Going from a concrete block, we had to then accommodate enough space in between to be able to let the space breathe.
Yep.
So that there's no condensation, etc. And then to get the framing right, you then basically, again, we built a room within a room. Just a little bit smaller.
But you needed to coordinate with the guys on site because the subwoofers need their own certain space inside this frame. Obviously, the speakers need to go into a certain position as well. So all of that were additional challenges that you had to overcome.
The fresh air has to come into the basement, which was also, and then we had radiators within the room, so those were custom-made spaces for the radiators.
Right. Okay.
Colours, making sure all the colours were perfectly aligned, so with the rest of the building.
So you had to factor all of that into your designs.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great because we actually ended up from CinemaTech built us 5 different renders of different colours.
I remember that, yeah, because we went through different colour options as well, didn't we? So you could present that to the client and say,
so
hey,
what carpet worked with that seating.
Exactly.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that helped massively in getting him to decide what he wanted in the end.
Yeah. Do you find a lot of value in renders to actually show the client what they could have, and do they engage?
100% yes. It gives them a glimpse into the wowness of what they're going to get. A glimpse into the future almost. That's what I want. That looks amazing. Let's do it.
To get more excited about the project and a bit more involved. I
absolutely. And then they get to, and then then it brings in his wife. Then has a lot of the say in what colours to use, and she gets more engaged in it. And
brilliant.
So it wasn't. Then it just didn't become the technical aspects. It became about. It's a fun room to do some cool things in,
Yeah, and collectively that everybody comes together to make sure that it's the right thing for the family at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun.
Brilliant. Have you got any gaming nights booked in with them?
Not in Geneva. Yeah.
No. Never say never.
No. They'll fly over there maybe, and it'd be nice. I'd like to see. There's a few other things he's asking us to do, so that'll be cool to go back and see, spend some time with him. He's such a nice man.
Yeah. After the room's been built and the client gets to sit down and first experience it. So were you there for that?
No, I wasn't
moment?
there for the very first experience. Honestly, because the guys were there calibrating, and he's so enthusiastic about it all. I think Steve Rutherford went out there.
Yep.
And I think when Steve was testing it, the client was in the room, and so Steve got to sort of see the client's first experience, I think.
Fantastic.
I went there on my own to see the client and do the handover, and we sat there together.
Yep.
But he had the experience. But when I went there, I was like, wow, this is something else. Having done the whole, does it work actually?
Yeah.
Does it sound as good as it's supposed to actually hearing it and you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. So it gives you that reassurance that this is the right thing.
Yeah, 100%. Once having done many cinemas before, this one for me, it was without a doubt the best sounding system I've heard.
Yeah, it was the attention to detail that really got me with this particular project because you had full scope to do what you needed within that space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we had help from friends to install the room. We used a company called Louise Tarling.
Yep.
To help us.
I know them very well.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. Really happy with Johnny and Louise. They absolutely, brilliant at what they do.
Yeah, their attention to detail is great, isn't it?
And they actually designed the faceted ceiling for us. The curved room turned it out into like a slow, straight but almost curved space, which is all the faceted, and then the LED trim and the bronze, the antique bronze trim, which all tied in really well with the space. And they did the whole build and infrastructure treatment, etc. for us, which client was super happy with them. Steve Rutherford was over the moon with.
Yeah, the build. Yeah, I did hear back from Steve as well, saying that he was super impressed with the build and kind of how it all came together.
Yeah, doing the rattle test, nothing did anything. It was just superb.
Yeah. After this project, client's mega happy. Yeah, super happy with you guys as well.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, we've got our next big one in Riyadh.
Yep.
Big wisdom system. That's been a big challenge, as you know. That room is
massive.
Is an understatement. So that's our next sort of one we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot more international stuff coming through to us at the minute, which is quite fun.
Because you're all over the place as well, aren't you? So it's Middle East and Europe. And
cool.
Anything in America yet?
We've got a lot of American clients actually at the minute. We've got one in particular who's I can't really say who he is, but he's hopefully
exciting to work for.
Exciting to be a part of.
Yeah.
So that's another project we're looking forward to working on. A lot of a lot of wisdom stuff coming in, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, next big challenge for us will be the Riyadh cinema.
So here's a question. What is it that you like about wisdom? What does it do for your projects and your clients?
I guess with wisdom and being able to specify wisdom comes with a lot of, the profile of my company and the company. If we start specifying wisdom at a higher, or being able to provide wisdom and specify it, it shows a different caliber to me, as in what we're able to offer. I guess would be the right words. So, yeah, I mean, it provides that. It
provides another level of experience, doesn't it? You've got a real kind of high-performing audio system there. You've got a combination of using the amplifiers with the speakers, and it's all designed to work as one system.
Yeah.
And also, you've got some really nice attributes with Wisdom. So with their line source loudspeakers, you're able to push that audio much further into the room before you have any drop-off.
Absolutely, and hence why we wanted to use them in Riyadh. We've got this massive long space, so we're having to push a lot of sound and efficiently across the room.
And to put some numbers to that, I had a quick look at the plans this morning. So it's 22 metres long, I believe.
26 metres.
26 metres long.
Yeah.
The screen that's gone into the space is 8.8 metres wide.
That's right, 9 metres wide.
It's colossal.
Wall. Yeah, it's massive.
It is absolutely colossal.
So we've got line 3s going in.
Yep.
0.3 GTs in the space. So hopefully. And then we've got the
STS subs.
STS subs.
3 of them.
3 of them. Hoping it's going to be able to fill the room.
Oh, yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, and working with Wisdom to map this all out. It looks to be quite a phenomenal project. This one.
Yeah. So that's exciting. So that's the next big thing for KNEKTD to go through.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for you at KNEKTD, where do you see the company going? Obviously, you're growing more and more. You're doing bigger and bigger projects, more high profile projects as well.
Yeah.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
So that's a tough question. I think I like to look maybe at least in the next 2 to 3 years. What I am finding at the minute is the projects are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Less volume of projects, but more sizable.
Yep.
Which is great. So we're able to concentrate a bit more on delivering these amazing projects as opposed to just delivering lots of them.
Yep.
So we've got a nice pipeline now of lots of obviously, the bigger they are, the longer they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the pipeline is very healthy at the minute for us. So a lot of
bigger projects take more attention to detail, longer lead times, but you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been fun, and a lot of them are, we're doing overseas work, which is quite fun to do. The guys get to experience loads of different things, which is nice for the engineers, and the designers to go and design things. So, going to Riyadh, we've got Spain and Ibiza and Portugal, which has been fun. So yeah, that's been pretty positive stuff at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not just residential either. So, doing these big residential projects, fantastic, because everybody loves their own cinema, right? But you also do a lot of commercial works. So hospitality.
Yeah, not more hospitality than anything. We get involved in a lot of restaurants at the minute, and it's quite a nice blend, I think. We get to use a lot of the residential stuff or knowledge, and put it into a hospitality space, which I'm finding a lot of our clients are really receptive to. So they get this like Resi-mercial.
Yes, I've heard that term quite a lot recently, actually.
Yeah, so we using a lot of what we know in the residential space to be able to deliver that in the hospitality. So these really cool restaurants, very moody and dark, want to be able to have this amazing audio throughout the space. And so that's been fun to do as well.
Because it's about delivering more of an experience to their customers, isn't it? Rather than just putting in a mediocre system.
Yeah.
It's about providing them with something truly that they will remember.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more so, I think, even, it's nice to work in these residential spaces and it's for a homeowner, but once you get into the hospitality space, you're delivering to so many people and so many, everyone has an opinion about, as soon as they walk in the room, what they hear, and everyone hears it differently. So, that's been, really cool when someone goes, and again, it's all about the feeling of being in the space, and if we can help, immerse that person into that room, then even better.
Yeah, they must be very different clients to work for as well. So obviously within the residential space, you'd be talking to the end user, the person that's going to use the system at the end of it. So they have some kind of steer in, what products should be used, and ultimately the value as well, where they want to go to.
Yeah.
So within the commercial side of things, I assume that you've got hard limits on budgets sometimes, or most of the times?
Yeah, no, I think when it comes to a hospitality space and the ones that we work on, they do give you a budget. They are healthy budgets because they know they need to deliver on that.
Yeah.
The difference is that there's no time. The timelines are the timelines with. And I find, it's nice to be working in a residential space. The homeowner can move in, and once we've delivered that, not that we linger, but there is a little bit of a
breathing
transition.
Space and
whereas with commercial or hospitality, there's a date. You hit that date.
Yeah.
And that becomes the challenge more so than the residential space.
Because it's not just you on the project, right? You've got a whole load of other services in there trying to do
it's an opening date that's been booked in the diary for the last 3 months. That's invited everyone from everywhere to attend. So it has to be delivered, and they can't move that because then they let down every 300 people or whatever is coming to the event.
Yeah. So very different challenges when we're talking commercial to residential. Oh, fantastic! But so you're enjoying everything that you're doing then, and working with us. I'm certainly enjoying working with you as well. It's been really, really good.
It's been a fun time.
Good to get to know you as well.
Yeah,
so I've been at Habitech now for just over a year, and we've worked quite closely on numerous projects.
Yeah.
And it's been good. Yeah, some challenges along the way, but I think we get them rectified, don't we?
Yeah. No, it's been fun. It's been a fun year for KNEKTD last year. But lots of interesting projects coming in. New products as well, actually, which has been fun.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an eventful 18 months coming ahead.
I look forward to hearing about them.
Nice.